What's up, guys? So I'm back with yet another video, and I figured since the year's over, I'd have a quick look into some of the titles that I really enjoyed this year. I was actually asked to put something like this together, and I know I'm gonna do a disservice to most of these books, and I'm sure I'm gonna forget a bunch of really great things I've read that I just can't remember. But I'm gonna try and put some of these out in no particular order. Um, I'll start with some single issues that I have here. These first two I think started in December actually. This is the Only Commandos of Shield, #1, and I wasn't that happy about the art in this book. But the story is really great. It's a real fun story. It ran for 6 issues. Here's number 6, and that was it. But I think it was a great miniseries. It's got tons of odd different characters, and there's an ad. And of course, one of my favorites was, of course, Hit Monkey. He made some great appearances in the series. So if you didn't check out the Howling Commandos of Shield, you might want to have a look. Check it out. Then the next one that started back in December as well is Dread. This ran for 12. Well, it's an ongoing, but the Mega City Zero arc ran for 12 issues, and I thought that it was a really nice, different look at Dread. I haven't read a lot of Dread. I think I started with the first issues of the original IDW series, and then I stopped after a couple. But I think this Mega City Zero arc for this new #1 was a really nice story. It's kind of confusing at times, but I found it entertaining. And I got some Marvel here. This is Drax #1. I really wasn't getting a lot of Marvel, but I think it kind of surprised me this year. The art in this one was mostly done by Scott Hepburn, which he does a great job with the character of Drax, and the story was really fun. It was by Colin Bunn and CM Punk. This ran for 6 issues as well, or 5. I can't remember, but this one was a great short series as well. The characters that join up with Drax really make a good impression. And I guess the rest of these are mostly in order. Mostly. First up, I got Sheriff of Babylon. It's one of the earlier ones. This is #1. And when I heard whoa, kind of graphic there. When I heard that Nathan Edmondson, no, not Nathan, sorry, that Mitch Jared was going to be doing a new series, I thought, wow, that sounds amazing. After I read The Punisher he did with Nathan Edmondson, I thought it was pretty cool. And this is another ad, sorry. And this ran for 12 issues. Great stuff. Tom King is a writer. I had no idea who Tom King was until Sheriff of Babylon. Great covers by John Paul Leon. It's just a gritty, hard-boiled war story that I thought was probably one of my favorites, if not my favorites, of this year. If you haven't checked it out, that one I would highly recommend, but don't take my word for it. And I'll skip the single issues right now, just because in a similar vein, I picked up White Donkey, Terminal Lance. It's a really nice hardcover by Maximilian Uriarte. And Uriarte, I think, was in service. He was a Marine. So basically, he kind of takes some of his experiences and puts them down in this book. Terminal Lance, I think, is a term for someone who's kind of losing it, I guess. Here's Uriarte. Enlisted in the United States Marine Corps in 2006. Basically, his bio there. And I think this was a really great story. It's, it follows this guy who is, I think he's from Seattle. So I don't know if that was something important there. But of course, he's having some doubts about his life. He's thinking about what he should do, and he ends up enlisting. He makes some friends. He goes through some hard times. Like I said, great story. Kind of, if you've seen The Hurt Locker, I guess, maybe even Jarheads. Any typical war tale. It's kind of, touches upon it. And this was a really great book to read. And back to the single issues. I got more Marvel. This was Red Wolf. This one is by Nathan Edmondson, with art by Dalibor Talajic. I thought this was a great series. It ran for another 6 issues. It throws Red Wolf from the past into the present, and I thought it was kind of a cop out to what the character would be, but it really surprises you what he does throughout the whole series, how he incorporates him, how Nathan Edmondson incorporates Red Wolf into the present time. He did a great job. It's a really fun book, and you get some good laughs in there, between the from the past and things from the future that don't add up. And what was really cool also, this one doesn't have it, but it's in the beginning, it's usually a police report that explains the story. Let me see if this one has it. That explains the story of, and has all the details. And of course, it says at the bottom to follow up with these individuals. So it's basically Nathan Edmondson and, the whole team. So yeah, Red Wolf, if you haven't checked this one out, it's a great book. Then, of course, I can't have a list without a Paraman and Iron Fist. This is still ongoing. The first arc was great. I think it was a fun book. The art, I really like this whole, I guess, hip-hop style art. You're taking Danny Rand and Luke Cage and, just reintroducing them, taking a look at their lives, their family lives, their superhero lives. It's a fun book. I really enjoyed it. We got some Dark Horse now. I think this is like back in the middle of the year, somewhere there. This is Weird Detective. It ran for 5 issues, I believe. And I wasn't a big fan of the art. I sort of enjoyed it. But the story is real fun. It's got some great dark humor at times. Um, you know, all in all, I thought it was a really fun read for 5 issues. Who knows if we'll get more? It's like a look into just part of this character, weird detective. But if you haven't checked that one out, I sort of recommend. You know, don't take my word for any of these, please. And then we have Daredevil. This, of course, is the dark art arc. The dark art arc. And you had Ron Garney come back to do the art, which I thought was nice in the first part of the series. Did I say this was issue 10? And of course, it ran through 14. And it was a fun read. It was entertaining. It was, you know, what a kind of a procedural crime story would be, just with Daredevil in it. So if you want to check out the series from the beginning, go ahead. If you want to just pick up this arc, I think it's well worth a look. And that's most of the single issues that I can remember. You know, so now I'm going to get into more trades, much like a White Donkey here. I did pick this one up in singles, but I double dipped because I enjoyed it so much. This is Headlopper. And the art is kind of quirky, it's kind of odd, but I really do like the art. This is by Andrew McLeave. And it has Mike Spencer. I'm not sure, because I think it has some backstories, but I think it's mostly Andrew, yeah. But it's just basically a take on a sort of a Conan character, maybe a Gru character. It's a really fun book. It's a nice, thick, hefty book. It was only 4 issues, but each issue was like, like this thick. So if you want to check out the singles, if not, this is a pretty nice trade for the Headlopper. Did I say it was a Headlopper? Yeah, it's a Headlopper. And I got some more Nathan Edmondson. This is who is Jake Alice? This is not from this year, but it was the first trade to Where Is Jake Alice? And after, like I said, reading The Punisher, the run he did on The Punisher, I was looking for more Nathan Edmondson. And of course, this has the art of one of my favorite artists as well, which is that guy, and I don't want to say his name, Tonzi Zonjik, because I don't want to misspell it. But this guy does he does most of the Lobster Johnson stuff, which I really enjoy. And of course, he teamed up with Edmondson to give us this weird sort of a espionage 007 sort of look into this guy who's kind of experimented on, and then he sort of gets this guy back here who is Jake Alice talking to him in his head. And I thought it was a really fun story. It's not the greatest, but I really enjoyed how Nathan Edmondson pulls off these weird story ideas about, having this voice and telling you what to do, when to do it, and all that stuff. I'm sure it's been done more than once, but Edmondson does a great job in giving it his own take. And then I got some Marvel, like I said before, a lot of great Marvel stuff. This is volume 1 of the new Wade Samey's Black Widow. I just really enjoyed with what Samey's was doing with the art. He does a lot of nice dynamic paneling in the first issue. which I kind of had already read in the singles, but I think I got 2 single issues of, I can't remember, but I decided to pick it up and trade. It's still ongoing, so I don't know how many volumes it'll be before they end their work on Black Widow. But up next, another very entertaining Marvel series that I came across in trade was the Only Wolverine. I got volume 1 and 2, and I believe volume 2 came out this year. I'm not sure when volume 1 came out, but whatever the case, it was still a fun read. It's a new look into a different Wolverine. It's not really Wolverine, I guess, but I really enjoyed the art. I really liked the character. There was some great family dynamic between the Only Wolverine and her other clone sisters. The art was okay. I wasn't the biggest fan, but I think it worked out well. And in volume 2, I think you have 1 or 2 guest artists or different artists. I don't remember, but it's different art. It's still the same Only Wolverine though, so you get an appearance of Old Man Logan there. Very fun read. If you haven't checked out Only Wolverine, there's plenty of reviews out there by other better YouTubers doing reviews on it, so have a look. And then of course I picked up Space Mullet, and this was highly entertaining. This is by Daniel Warren Johnson, and this is a black and white book he did as a webcomic. I think his art is great. I think he has some really nice character design. It's a simple space adventure, sci-fi adventure, but I think he did a great job in presenting these characters. This guy going through some hard times, flying his ship, I believe, which is the Space Mullet. And he's got his partner here, an alien. I come across some other interesting characters. It's a really fun book. Dave Warren Johnson also did Ghost Fleet for Dark Horse. I only got 2 single issues of Ghost Fleet. This of course was includes color, of course, but it's still Johnson's art, and I kind of prefer it in the black and white for some reason. I don't know, all the tinted blue as well, but I'm a big fan of his stuff. I recently saw Ghost Fleet volume 1 and 2 re-solicited, I guess, by previews, so hopefully I'll get that within a couple months. I think it was the this December previews that had Ghost Fleet volume 1 and 2. But either way, Space Mullet, great read. And on a side note for Johnson, if you've checked out this month's previews or this month's Image Plus, you'll see there's Eternity. And yes, this is a new book by Daniel Warren Johnson, and it has a preview of the series. I probably won't get the series in singles because I think his work really works out in as a trade. So if this is going to be a new ongoing for him, hopefully the trades will come out at a regular pace. Knowing Image, they do a lot of weird scheduling. But yeah, Space Mullet, if you haven't read Space Mullet, if you haven't read anything by Daniel Warren Johnson. While this is written by him, Ghost Fleet is written by someone else. I highly suggest checking out Space Mullet. And finally, because I really can't remember anything else, Rachel Rising. I got into this pretty late, and I'm still not done, reading the whole thing. I'm missing 2 of the final volumes. The art is very nice. Terry Moore kind of has some bland panel layouts, I will say. Just square after square, but he makes up, highly with the writing. It's some very interesting writing. The characters are very interesting. There was a point where I did have some confusion of what character was what character, because he introduces some other ladies that look very much like Rachel's friend. But nonetheless, the story is great. It's a really fun witchcraft themed book, I guess. And if you haven't checked out Rachel Rising, like I had not, go check it out. There's a big omnibus of the whole series that you could get now. But there you have some of the titles that I really enjoyed in 2016. And if you haven't checked them out, maybe you'll enjoy them as well. So thank you very much for watching.